There's no place to escape to.
This is the last podcast.
On the left. That's when the cannibalism started.
What was that?
No, it's nothing but disgust. No, I don't want a single, Rob, if you could, not throw up a single visual reference today, that'd be great. You know, because this is the last one. This is the one we want to get super visual.
Yeah.
I think that's where we're really going to start turning the audience.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't. Have y'all both seen Cindy Hendy?
Oh, yeah, that's what I said.
Have you seen Cindy Hendy?
No, I haven't.
I actually would like Ed to see Cindy Hendy.
You know what she looked like? You know, I'll put it this way. She looks like Janice from the Muppets. But like if Janice from the Muppets had an endless fucking hole for cock.
Yeah.
Is she the super tough chick?
No,
No.
Cindy Hendy is the accomplice, the girlfriend.
Okay.
Yeah, you want to pull up Cindy Hendy?
Yeah.
You're gonna watch out.
That's her.
Yep, she looks like Janice from the Muppets if she had an endless hole for dick.
Janice is beautiful.
That's Janice from the Muppets
No,
if that
it's
was
not.
a person.
No, it's not.
If you were to
There's
put...
no hippie in this woman.
Yes, she's unfortunately the most hippie you've ever met.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is the end result of hippie. Like, if you don't stop hippie and you just kept... Like, you know, they say a copy of a copy of a copy. You know, when you keep making, like, copies of something that eventually you get something, like, awful. That's what Cindy Hendy is with, like, Pink Floyd fans.
Yeah.
I just don't believe either one of you.
She's got the Janice jaw, you know, like
She's
those
got
big,
the same
gigantic
mouth
lips.
and the same shape of head.
Yeah.
She's got a lima bean head, and she's got the kind of straw hair, and so she does kind of look like Janice. And
she doesn't.
I just put her in there.
She looks nothing like Janice. Leave Janice out of this. Janice is a wonderful Muppet.
You just don't want to get Disney IP angry with you.
No, I don't care about the Disney IP getting angry with me. She is not Janice. Look at Janice. Janice is gorgeous.
It looks
Janice,
exactly. They look
nothing
exactly
like-
the
Very
same.
similar.
They look so similar.
Janice has no eyes.
Yeah, I mean, Janice, this woman has no good teeth.
She's not wearing a hat.
My God, I can't believe you can't see it. Welcome to the last
That's
podcast
Janice.
on the left. My name is Marcus Parks. I'm here with Henry Zabrowski. I would say the correct Henry Zabrowski.
Thank you.
We're on the same side here today.
Finally, and I just want to say today's episode is dedicated to Julie, your wife. This is a huge get for this show, and it's your anniversary, and congrats.
I've already told her she's not allowed to listen to these episodes. Every time she wants to talk about these episodes, I'm like, baby, you're going to cry.
You're not gonna
if
like
I
it.
tell you about what we're talking about.
I got into it about the tapes, too. I did some information when you were talking about finding the 50-minute tape versus the 4-minute tape. So apparently, there is some chatter around which one is genuine and which one is not.
Okay.
So the 50-minute one apparently is the full transcript, but it is not his voice.
Sounds like him.
It's not, though. It's an impersonator. It's somebody else doing the voice.
Jeff Foxworthy.
I hope. Oh, my God. Jeff Coxworthy.
If you wake up strapped to a table.
You walk inside the toy box.
And of course, with us, we also have the comedic chameleon, Ed Larson.
How you doing, everybody? This can't get over fast enough. Thank you, Marcus, for handing in the longest script you've ever given me.
Yeah.
It really is. It really is the longest one I've written since we started working together.
It's real thick.
By
Yeah.
a couple pages.
But the 4-minute video is his voice.
Oh,
so that
okay.
actually is David Parker Ray. So they are both, it's half real. The 50-minute one is like half.
So that's just the transcripts of the tape.
That's where we got all the information about the dog fucking and all that kind of stuff that came out that we have not necessarily added back into this episode.
Yeah.
But what I would say,
Actually, I did.
He put the
good.
dog fucking in this. Good. I read the dog fucking.
Excellent. And that's all I want to make sure that we don't leave anything out.
And it's not really, we'll get into it.
I still left quite a bit out.
Yeah, I know.
There was a couple times, and I was like, does this need to be in there?
It does. Welcome to Toy Box Killer Redux Part 2.
Yeah.
So when we last left David Parker Ray, he and his daughter Jessie had just captured, tortured, and raped a friend of Jessie's named Kelly Garrett over a period of 3 days in David's infamous toy box. Upon her release, David had given Kelly a heavy dose of psychotropic drugs that scrambled her short-term memory into an amorphous blob of unknowable trauma. David then drove Kelly, who was a newlywed, back to her husband's house himself. Now, David's drugging method was successful because Kelly had no memory of what exactly had happened to her over the previous 3 days. But Kelly's husband didn't believe her story at all. He instead chose to think that Kelly and Jesse Ray were trying to somehow scam him. That didn't really get specific with it, just like, I don't believe it, you're trying to get money out of me. Kelly's marriage was therefore annulled, and she moved away from Truth or Consequences with nothing more than the feeling that something absolutely terrible had happened to her after she'd gone out drinking with David Parker Ray's daughter, Jessie.
This is probably a terrible way to introduce this character, but we thought about, me and Eddie had a really funny idea on the road about the idea of me playing the character David Parker Ray.
Yeah, it's fat David Parker.
And then we started doing the jokes, right? So at Side Stories, we were doing a couple of these jokes, and we'll be like, all right, so, hey, bitch, you may have found yourself in a situation you can't get yourself out of. Now you're going to have to choose mayonnaise or light mayonnaise.
You hungry, bitch?
Hey, bitch, you ready for some pizza rolls? I sure am. I've had 25 already for breakfast. I had some for lunch, and I'm about to have some for dinner with you, bitch.
I know what you're thinking. Your cholesterol is already really high.
Then we said the problem with the character is that the tagline and all of the punchlines take "Hey, bitch."
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
That was going to be the note that I had.
That is every single time we were doing, we're like, "Hey, bitch."
Yeah.
We're like, no,
It's hard. It's really hard. It's not pleasant to listen to at all.
No.
I always pictured myself as the person strapped to the table.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
You should have led with that. And if it's that, then it's funny.
All right, so now picture that. Picture I'm the one strapped to the table.
And I'm going, hey, bitch.
Yeah, and everyone's laughing. See, everybody's laughing.
Yeah. Hey,
you don't care what happens to a man.
Hey, bitch, I know what you're thinking. How long has it been since my last meal? How long will it be until my next meal?
See, he's getting it.
Okay, now I'm in. Now I'm in.
Yeah. I am hungry.
Don't worry, you have your anniversary dinner soon.
Oh, I can't wait for my nice Californian dinner.
Now, Jesse was just the first of many known accomplices who would join David Parker Ray in his incredibly wide array of sadistic criminal activities, accomplices who would participate in ways both large and small. These partners in crime, however, would share something in common with the people they victimized. 201. Each of the people we're going to discuss today could be described as lost souls, lost to substance abuse, sexual addiction, violence, or a combination of all three plus a few things extra. In other words, these were all people who had fallen through the cracks, and it's in those cracks that people like David Parker Ray and his accomplices thrive, because they've also lived most of their lives in those same places.
Yeah, I own land inside your crack. Yeah, you come on, slip down, find me. Also was working on my, hey, Diddy. Diddy. That's my Texas, that's my Lubbock accent.
That's your Lubbock accent?
Diddy.
Diddy?
Hey, Diddy.
He only knows one word.
Yeah,
Diddy?
and it's also
Come here, Diddy.
Not even close to correct.
Buddy, I watched the Poop Cruise fucking documentary last night, and the mother's from Lubbock, Texas, and I swear she was like, I knew I needed to get him home to his Diddy. That is literally what the lady kept saying. I knew I had to get her home from that poo-poo cruise to back to his Diddy.
Well, I would say she probably moved to Lubbock from somewhere else.
I think maybe from Bitchville.
Are they always hungry there?
Yeah, I guess. According to the bit.
Just poop in the bag.
Poop in the bag. Honestly, that's so unreasonable. It wasn't that unreasonable. We'll get whatever.
I'd have been so excited. I love the poop in the bag.
Same. That's literally all I was talking about last night. We'll save this for Side Stories.
Now, the first accomplice we're going to discuss today is a local named Roy Yancey, born in 1971 to a conventionally, quote-unquote, good family in Truth or Consequences. But Roy's parents split up when he was young, and by 16, Roy's life had gone off the rails. Now, Roy did take drugs and drink like most of us did in high school, but Roy also found that very special niche that a lot of bad, angry kids found in the 1980s. A niche that would both terrify their parents and give the kids a way to make themselves feel powerful.
Yeah.
See, starting in the summer of '87, Roy and his high school friends began pretending that they were members of a satanic cult by desecrating graveyards, tagging pentagrams on buildings around Truth or Consequences, and holding so-called black magic rituals in the nearby Sierra Mountains.
What would their rituals consist of?
Unspecified. Probably just a bunch of kids chanting while, I don't know, listening to probably the most satanic music they had, Wasp.
Yeah.
You know, like Motley Crue, that's pretty evil.
Venom.
They didn't know Venom. They didn't have Venom in Truth or Consequences. You guys have no idea how hard it is to find good music out there in the fucking wasteland.
Yeah, there's no specs out there.
Yeah, I feel like that's why you're getting a lot of like people playing the belly button.
I'll tell you how fucking isolated it was. I did not hear Nirvana until 1993.
Whoa.
2 years after Nevermind, and that was just because a kid from Washington State moved to our town and like brought his CDs with him. I didn't know Nirvana existed until I was 10. Like, that's how isolated this shit is.
That's kind of amazing.
And that was in 1993. Yeah, this is 87. This is 5 years before that.
It's kind of amazing that they
6
fucking
years.
figured out how to put together a ramshackle satanic ritual that way. Honestly, it's kind of inspiring. But just so you know, anytime anybody mentions Satanism ever, and of course, this is my job here, is just remember that these children don't know what they're doing. They literally were children that were trying to scare adults, and it worked.
And the thing is that they're probably taking all of this imagery from the news reports and all of the satanic panic bullshit that's talking about satanic cults being a problem.
Yeah.
It's like in the 90s when kids in Boca Raton, where I grew up, were drawing anarchy A's on their notebooks. It's like, there's nothing anarchy about you. You live in Boca Raton.
You're going to school. You're in history class.
You have to turn this in later.
Now, quite a few kids in America spent their teenage years in the 1980s spray painting pentagrams in abandoned houses because they were bored and frustrated. I, in fact, saw many remnants of this trend all over my area of Texas when I was exploring abandoned structures not too far from New Mexico in the 90s and 2000s. But Yancey's crew either took their satanic cosplay too far, or Yancey found that Satanism was a convenient cover that he could use to dress up his violent urges in something that supposedly had meaning. See, in 1987, in the days leading up to Halloween, Yancey and his friends went on a canine killing spree by poisoning dogs who were exclusively owned by people with surnames starting with the letter R. Then the so-called satanic cult left the dead bodies of those dogs on the owner's doorstep. Yancey and his friends subsequently bragged to the other kids at school that they'd sacrifice these animals in rituals that were supposed to summon the devil to truth or consequences.
Why the R?
It's a random fucking thing. It's just one of those things. It's like just a weird thing to choose.
Do you think it's a coincidence, or they definitely chose that?
They definitely chose that, but as to the reason why, who the fuck knows?
The one thing I think you did get wrong, though, is that Yancey is actually pronounced Yancey.
Yancey! Roy Yancey, Mommy! My name's Roy Yancey!
Hello! I'm evil! You better believe it! It's me, Fancy Yancey! So I'm sorry to correct you, but
Yes, you're right. You're right.
I bet you never thought that a Roy Yancey could be a Prince of Hell, but here he is!
That's me! I'm the Dark Prince of New Mexico! Hello!
I actually wonder, Yancey, you're going to tell your compatriots, like, you're in truth, you're in TOC, you're in TRC, whatever they call it.
TRC.
Right? And you go up to your, you're like, you know, me and my friends, we went and we made a ritual to bring the devil here to TRC. And they're all like, I thought the devil was already here. It's my daddy.
Yep, must work.
Now, this supposed satanic cult must have been getting the type of attention they wanted from their fellow students, because they soon began planting pentagram-covered letters inside the lockers of female students that said that the cult had pledged themselves to sacrificing a virgin.
And you better fucking fix that by sucking my dick. Yeah, fuck yeah, dude. Fucking, you're safe. Oh, my penis made you safe.
Terrible.
Yeah. I don't think that makes her not a virgin either.
That's the idea, is that if you make them, but if you start with the blowjobs and you work up to vaginal sex, then she's safe from the devil and she's your girlfriend.
But outside of these fairly typical, if distressing, high school pranks, Yancey and his friends were also connected to a string of burglaries in the area in which a fair amount of guns were stolen. The local DA actually formed a task force to investigate because he was worried, without evidence, that their local satanic cult was stockpiling weapons for nefarious purposes.
Oh, yeah.
Now, his only reason for thinking this is fear, because I can think of dozens of terroristic attacks perpetrated by gun-toting Christians all over the world. In fact, I think the number one spot is held by a very Christian man. But I can't think of a single instance of a mass shooting or a terrorist activity being perpetrated by a Satanist or a satanic group. It's just not their style.
We stay inside. Largely, we're difficult to get around. A lot of, you see a lot of chronic illness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then you see a lot of just straight up, I don't even care enough about you to kill you.
Mobility issues do factor in.
It does. But it's that idea. Satanists don't care about you. So why would they kill you?
And it's hard for them to shoot guns with all their fingerless gloves.
And the rings. My God, the rings.
Yeah, they're really getting away.
Revenge will come for you. Don't you worry. But first, those dragon wings hurt. They hurt.
But in the end, while the task force didn't find any guns, nor did they find a satanic plot, they did hear that the satanic group may have been led by an older man named David. And it has been speculated that this David was David Parker Ray. But this makes little sense, because this was the exact same time period that David Parker Ray was being heavily investigated for human trafficking by the FBI. And it's very hard to believe that David Parker Ray would be sending high school Satanists out on missions to steal guns while the FBI was on his ass.
Also, FBI, bad job.
Super bad job.
Super bad. I try to root for you, but this is, is a bad check mark.
Yeah, they really fucked this up.
Well, actually, I think on this one, I don't think he was trafficking women to Mexico. I think that was something that his daughter made up, and that's specifically what they were investigating. So I think on this one, I'm not going to give the FBI a pass necessarily, but They were investigating what they were investigating, and they didn't find any evidence.
It makes total sense, and it almost sounds like almost in a way that they were told specifically to look for the wrong thing.
I mean, it wasn't that they were told to look for the wrong...
There's massive group rapes happening inside of the little toy box. So you figure that's a thing that someone could look at.
But that was 5 years before he built the toy box.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he didn't build the toy box.
Right.
He didn't build the toy box until 1991, maybe 1993, and this all occurred in 1987. This was back when the FBI was called on David Parker Ray. He was still splitting time between Phoenix and Elephant Butte. He hadn't even moved to Elephant Butte permanently.
Damn.
Which also tells you that he had nothing to do with fucking... He didn't have enough roots in the town to build a rapport with high school kids to turn them into little Satanists. Like, it's ridiculous to think so.
I'm sorry, FBI.
Always.
Now, while Roy Yancey never went down for satanic gun trafficking, police did arrest him and his friends after they broke into their English teacher's home so they could leave a rotting dog penis on the teacher's computer keyboard as a so-called satanic warning.
Yeah, read that.
Watch out, grade that, Mr. McClancy. It's a little bit of dog penis all the way straight from the backyard. Roy Yancey.
But as it is with many of these incidents...
The teacher just picked it up.
Now, today, class, we are going to be talking about the beauty of the phrase, dead dog's cock. Now, please, can anyone tell us why this phrase is aesthetically pleasing? They say it's cellador, I say dead dog cock.
Actually, give me that dead dog's cock. I've had a bit of a roast beef, a full lunch. Oh, it's in between my teeth.
Please, in the key of D.
But as it is with many of these incidents, the dog penis was just a smoke screen.
It's just a goddamn smoke screen.
It's a smoke screen for their ultimate goal, which was the $3,000 in property that they stole from the teacher's home. And for this, Yancey and his buddies had to spend time in juvie and write a lengthy essay on the history of Satanism, which, depending on how much they hated homework, could have actually endeared them more to the ideology.
Honestly, you sit them down with the Satanic Bible and they start reading and realize how the tenets are actually quite humanistic and very interesting. It might actually really help their empathy in many ways.
It might, but it didn't.
Nope.
Yeah, it didn't take.
No, it didn't work, no.
Yeah. Now, Roy Yancey did clean up his act a bit when he did a stint in the Navy during the early 90s. But when he returned to Truth or Consequences...
Hello, sailors! I'm ready for the high seas! Let's go! Hope before World War III!
Oh, we're going to the Persian Gulf! That sounds like a great place for Roy Yancey!
Roy Yancey, love of the desert!
But when he returned to Truth or Consequences in 1995 at the age of 24, the allure of the party lifestyle was too much for Roy Yancey to resist. Yancey began heavily using acid and heroin, and his penchant for partying, paired with his increasingly adventurous sexual appetite, caused people around TRC to refer to him regularly as Toy Boy Roy.
You just sat on my yo-yo!
No, Roy Yancey and Toy Boy Roy are two entirely different people.
Hello!
Same voice, though.
Same voice.
Toy Boy Roy, I'm here for you! I'm gonna expand your vagina! with this big gaping dildo. Hello. Knock, knock. Here comes Toy Boy looking for the vagina.
Well, since Roy Yancey was enough of a fixture in the TRC party scene to earn a fun nickname, he eventually ran into and became friends with who else but David Parker Ray's daughter, Jessie Ray. Sensing that Roy Yancey had just the right pep in his step that her father liked, Jessie introduced Yancey to David, which is a far more likely introduction story than the previous assumption that David had been the shadowy ringleader of Yancey's high school satanic cult. But no matter how they were introduced, Roy Yancey had, by late 1995, become a regular fixture on the local sadomasochistic party scene that centered around David Parker Ray. This was in Yancey was in his mid-20s. Yancey, in fact, understood and accepted the dangers of being in such a scene, because he once admitted, and this is actually much funnier with the voice, once admitted to a friend that he was tied down and anally raped with a broomstick at one of David's parties, and yet Yancey kept returning.
Hello, second. I'd like a second plate, please. Hello, come on. That's not how you clean a butt. Hey, ho, who ordered this made?
Broomstick? You think you could get one of the plastic ones? The wood's got splinters!
Uh-oh, get the dustpan.
Hey ho! I mean, use the hoe!
Oh, thinner rod.
Rise from your grave.
Now, Yancey was one of the more sexually adventurous members of the Truth or Consequences scene, because Yancey was openly bisexual. As such, Yancey befriended and presumably, considering the evidence, had a sexual relationship with a 42-year-old Truth or Consequences gay man named Kenneth Lee Lane in late 1994. But the reason why I mention this is because the evidence shows that this relationship ended with Lane's death, and it's very likely that Roy Yancey was the one who killed him. Now, Kenneth Lee Lane, according to his neighbors, often had what they called strange music blasting through his walls. Lane also kept a fair amount of women's wigs in his apartment, as well as a large cardboard cutout of Elvira, which, from what I've learned from years of watching Drag Race, all spells drag queen in letters 500 feet tall.
I just think he was a sensitive man that liked to party, and he just happened to like something that wasn't Merle Haggard.
It's the music, it's the wigs, and it's the Elvira.
Yeah.
The drag queens love Elvira.
Oh, I know.
Massively so.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Also, strange music is probably just like what we call decent music.
It's probably,
Decent music,
just good disco.
Yeah.
And indeed, Kenneth Lee Lane may have participated in whatever drag scene nearby Albuquerque may have had at the time. But Roy Yancey allegedly put an end to whatever fun Kenneth Lee Lane might have been having in a most brutal fashion. See, Yancey was leaving Lane's apartment on December 26, 1995, and the neighbors remembered that Yancey had left the apartment with an unusually large smile on his face.
Good morning, Mr. Peterson. Oh, I see the lawn's looking nice. I'm on my way to the ice cream parlor. Bye-bye.
Happy Boxing Day!
Please get rid of that guy. It took 6 days before the smell of decomposition began to seep through to the next apartment through the heating vents. And when police broke the door down, they found Lane's dead body in the front room. But in another instance of homophobic cops writing off an obvious murder as these gays sure are weird, Lane's death was ruled as accidental. This was despite the fact that Lane's autopsy revealed that he had died from metal poisoning because an assortment of nuts and bolts were found in his stomach in addition to a doorknob being shoved in his rectum.
It's an accident.
Oh, you know how these gays with their hardware parties where they all show up and they eat wrenches and they eat nails and nuts and bolts and screws.
And the thing they say to each other is, how do we make each other furniture? And that is one of the worst things you can imagine. A man wanting to be a lamp. What are our boys fucking killing children of Vietnam for?
I've been trying to tell these gays, use your hands to open the door.
We were playing a game of Lion Witch in the Wardrobe, trying to see if I could turn him into a magical closet.
Now, when the landlord cleaned out Lane's apartment, he discovered some old blood spatter patterns, drawings of pentagrams on a table, and a few black candles. Now, we know this is probably just harmless experimentation, getting witchy on the weekends, as people like to do, but the rumor began to spread that Lane had been killed in an occult ritual.
What would these fuckers have thought of my house? Like,
Oh,
easy because you
Oh,
just
but-
walked into my house. I guess, look like king of the LA pedophiles, right? Like the evil satanic
all the-
pedophiles and all this shit. Like, okay, yeah.
Prince.
Yeah.
More Prince.
Yeah. Yeah, too many pentagrams.
Yeah.
No, I do remember one time we had hired someone to clean our apartment in New York, and the lady left immediately after walking into my office because, without saying a single word, because it scared her so much.
Good.
I felt bad. I felt so bad. I just
Sorry.
wanted to say it's ornamental. I'm not.
My wonderful handyman, we work together all the time. Arturo's a genius, but he literally was like, he pointed at once. He was like, El Diablo. I said, sí. En esta costa, el Diablo es bueno.
See.
Sí.
But even if Lane had been killed in an occult ritual, then the cops had a suspect with a history of using occult trappings to intimidate others, Roy Yancey. And Roy Yancey was the last one who saw the deceased alive. And yet, it would be another 13 years before the case.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah,
though.
another 13 years before the case would even be investigated as a murder. And that was, of course, after David Parker Ray and the rest were caught. Now, there's really no mystery as to whether or not David Parker Ray and Jesse Ray committed murders in the toy box. And that's because Roy Yancey told investigators that he participated in a murder inside the toy box when it was very much in Roy's best interest to say that he was not involved. As the story goes, a 21-year-old mother of two named Marie Parker went missing after hanging out with David, Jesse, and Roy in 1996. Marie was another lost soul who'd run away from TRC at the age of 14, but she'd returned to town pregnant after 5 years of drifting. Marie met David Parker Ray's crew.
Not Tokyo drifting.
No.
Yeah.
Southwest. No. Southwest drifting. Much worse.
That's on a horsing buggy, right?
I think it's in a
Or maybe
shopping
it's a,
cart.
or a
from
hand cart.
Yeah.
No, it's in the bed of a truck. Well, Marie met David Parker Ray's crew through Jesse Ray, and within months of entering their circle, Marie had smoked enough meth to become homeless. She also began dating Roy Yancey, but the two of them broke up when Marie tried getting clean.
I don't like you sober.
David Parker Ray, however, gave Marie an army tent, and he let her stay on his campsite by the beach at Elephant Butte Lake. But from what it sounds like, David, Roy Yancey, and Jesse Ray were merely saving Marie for a 4th of July special. Now, if 4th of July at Elephant Butte Lake in the 90s was anything like my childhood holidays at Lake Stanford during the same time period, the environment would have been absolute heaven for a chaotic soul. I mean, these are the best memories of my childhood.
You see, you like this. This sounds deeply frightening. Like this type of party.
These are easily the happiest times of my childhood. It's like the 4th of July and the time surrounding 4th of July at the lake.
Why? Because you were just let out to do whatever the hell it is you want to do.
Pure fucking chaos everywhere.
Yeah.
4th of July in these southwestern lake towns during the 90s, utter fucking mayhem.
I mean, I just think it's the 90s because I remember spending 4th of July up in Jersey. That's when I learned that you can shoot bottle rockets out of PVC pipes, but not in a good way.
Yeah.
I learned that in a way that was very damaging to me, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to use this on someone else.
Oh, yeah, dude. Thankfully, all the scars that I had from this time period are all healed up. But man, I had a lot of them. A lot of burn scars. I mean, every dock had a pile of fireworks being set off without any care for safety. And every adult was too fucking drunk to supervise or even care about what the kids were doing. Today, we call it neglect. Back then, we called it fun!
That's right.
But I only bring that up to demonstrate that these places in this period of time were pandemonium factories, and some very dark shit could go down amidst the noise and spectacle. Now, pretty soon after the fireworks ended on July 4th, David Parker Ray arrived in a furious mood at the campsite where Marie had been living in David's army tent. See, the night before, Marie and Roy had rekindled their relationship over a meth pipe with Jesse, and they'd all made quite the mess as a result. As was rare for David, he lost his shit and yelled at Jesse in front of everyone that she, Roy, and Marie were jeopardizing his good reputation at the Parks Department. This, of course, also gave David justification for what he and the others were about to do to Marie, because David could now paint Marie as a quote-unquote problem. Now, according to Yancey's confession, Marie told her brother that she was going to Blue Water Saloon on July 5th to score meth, which is where she ran into Jesse and Yancey. Unbeknownst to Marie, though, Jesse and Yancey had arrived there that night specifically to find her.
Peekaboo! Yeah!
After a few minutes of conversation, the trio hopped in Jesse's truck and drove to the local cemetery to engage in the long and storied Southwestern tradition of doing a meth deal in a graveyard.
Oh, God.
I don't know why, but yesterday I just became obsessed with the phrase meth deal in a graveyard. Meth deal in a graveyard. I just kept saying it over and over again. Meth deal in a graveyard. I loved it.
Well, now you need to write an album.
Dude, that's your fucking...
That's my debut album.
That's your Badlands.
Meth deal in a graveyard. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
that's your stripped down in a hotel room with just a drum set and your voice.
I start from that point and build.
Yes.
But once they got to the cemetery, there was no meth deal to be had. And so, I hate when that happens.
Yeah, God damn it, I came all the way out here and I'm tired, y'all.
Instead, Jesse took out a handgun and handcuffed Marie while Roy Yancey stood nearby to make sure Marie didn't run for it. After Marie was subdued, she was driven back to David Parker Ray's toy box where Jesse and David led her inside. Now, Roy says that he didn't participate in the torture and rape of Marie Parker, but he fully admitted that he knew what purpose the toy box served, and he could certainly guess at what Jesse and David were up to in there for 3 days straight.
Give me 3 guesses.
But while Roy claims he didn't enter at any point during the rape and torture, he was invited inside right at the end, when Jesse and David told Yancey that it was time for Marie to go. So, at midnight on July 9th, Roy entered the toy box to find his sometime girlfriend naked, blindfolded, gagged, and bound to a cot. Jesse then handed Roy a rope and told him that he knew what he had to do. I suppose figuring he was in too deep as an accomplice at this point, Yancey began to choke Marie with the rope. But, as we all know, death by strangulation, even with the rope, can take an uncomfortable amount of time, especially if your heart's not in it.
Stop looking at me. Stop watching me. I can't be micromanaged like this.
When things weren't moving along fast enough, Yancey put his knee on Marie's chest for extra leverage and used every bit of his strength to choke the life out of her body before she finally went limp. After Marie was killed, the 3 conspirators wrapped her naked corpse in a blanket and snuck it out to Jesse's truck under cover of darkness. The body was loaded up and driven with fair certainty to a remote area north of Elephant Butte, a place called Monticello Canyon. And when I say with fair certainty, I mean they knew exactly where the fuck they were going.
Yeah.
Roy watched Jesse and David unroll Marie's body from the blanket before hurling it off the side of the ravine. But after the body landed at the bottom, Jesse and David scrambled down to conceal the corpse in a burial mound of sorts with loose gravel. Once it was all over, David and Jesse told Roy Yancey that if he told anyone about what happened that night, he'd be the next to die.
So they never found that body?
No, they never found that body.
Even though they know where it is?
It is suspected that David Parker Ray later moved it.
Okay.
Yes,
But-
and then who knows? Someone could also, animals could have got to it, maybe. Who knows?
Just loose gravel, coyotes just ripping it apart and stuff.
And man, out there, it's nothing but coyotes. There's just fucking coyotes everywhere. So yeah, quite possible that and there's also big cats. There's a lot of things that could have got to that body and dragged it
Big
somewhere
dogs.
else. Yeah.
A lot of birds. There's some snakes. Rats.
4-pound scorpions.
A lot of stuff.
Now, Jesse and Roy, probably paranoid from the meth and filled with the urge to leave because they were the last people seen with Marie Parker, they drove thousands of miles the very next day to the Texas coastal town of Galveston, where they basically lived homeless on the beach for the next year.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, it was one of those things where, like, Roy Yancey came back and was like, you wouldn't believe it. I lived with homeless people on the beach the whole time. It's like, that means that you, sir, were homeless.
No, I was just roommates with a homeless person.
I know that the distinction is hard to understand.
Turning into
It's
Master
important.
Shake. That's like what this voice is. It's Master Shake.
Hello.
Yeah, it is a bit of a master shake. Yeah. Well, as it turned out, there really hadn't been a lot of heat to escape in the first place. Marie had been reported missing even before Yancey murdered her, yes, But very little was done after the police found her Geo Metro abandoned in the parking lot of the bar where she'd last been seen alive. In fact, the official file on her disappearance didn't even name Roy and Jesse as the people Marie had left with. They didn't even get the genders right. Instead, the report said that Marie had left with 2 cowboys in a 2-tone brown pickup. Now, one of Marie's friends did say that she knew that Marie Parker was dead after Marie Parker went missing. And she also said that she knew Jesse Ray probably had something to do with it. But as it has happened countless times and will happen countless times more, Marie Parker was deemed not worthy of a full investigation, partly because the cops had been told that she'd been out looking for drugs on the night she went missing. Now, while Jesse Ray and Roy Yancey are certainly villains in their own right, they both, at the very least, seem to have shown at least the tiniest bit of reluctance before fully crossing over into David Parker Ray's world. That, however, was not the case with David's future girlfriend, Cindy Hindi.
It seems that whatever goes along with a predator person's choice of victim, like the way that they do that, it actually also it kind of is the same way that they choose accomplices. Because the same way that they can suss out who they can sort of con, they sort of also can kind of suss out who's got that X factor that's like me.
Very much so.
And Cindy Hendy just like arrived picture perfect.
Oh, yeah. No, they can definitely tell who's safe to let in.
Yes.
Now, by the time Cindy Hendy showed up in Truth or Consequences at the age of 37, and that was a hard 37.
Yeah.
She was what you'd call a permanently out-of-pocket human being. For example, Cindy had fled to New Mexico in the first place from Washington State because she disobeyed a court order to enter rehab. Cindy had already spent some time in prison. She didn't really want to go back to prison, but she also didn't want to slow down the partying. So Cindy abandoned her 2 children and headed straight for the town of Truth or Consequences, where Cindy knew she would be amongst other similarly out-of-pocket individuals.
She literally probably looked at a map and she's just like, oh yeah, sure. Which was it? I'm trying to do. Where's my Janice voice? Yeah. What's the Janice voice?
She's sort of honky.
Oh no, hey. Yeah, so it's like the idea. She just was like, where can I go get the most fucked up?
Yeah. She's more like, yeah, man. Like, that's how yeah, man, let's fucking do it. Let's go to Truth or Consequences, man. That's how that's how I imagine.
Oddly enough, best thing that happened to those kids.
Yeah.
Seriously, they dodged a fucking bullet.
Well, they did visit Truth or Consequences. One of them visited Truth or Consequences once, but called her grandmother after like 2 days and said, "Get me the fuck out of here. These people are abusing me, and this is a hellish nightmare."
Yeah, we don't like it here.
It's all consequences.
Yeah.
Now, upon her arrival in T or C, Cindy Hendy quickly established a partying reputation that was considered hardcore even amongst local standards. Cindy came to be known as Six-Pack Cindy, because a six-pack was all you needed to get with Cindy.
Cool.
Self-explanatory.
Cindy was also rumored to be earning money through sex work, but she claimed, openly and loudly, she never had to worry about being arrested because she, quote-unquote, had something on most of the police and businessmen in Truth or Consequences.
It's chlamydia.
I got some. Yeah, man, I got it on them. I got it in them. I got it everywhere.
On there, on the sheets, on my legs.
Cindy's arrival in town, however, was somewhat serendipitous. See, David Parker Ray could have never handled a woman like Cindy with his chronic impotence.
Hey, spaghetti disease. All right, I got rigatoni downstairs, but that don't mean I got meatballs upstairs.
But in 1997, right around the time Cindy showed up, David Parker Ray, very unfortunately, received a prescription for Viagra.
Dudes fucking rock. Hey, that's fucking awesome. Thanks to Pfizer. We also reach out. Honestly, we heard last podcast on the left. We want to say thank you, Pfizer, for all of the wonderful things you've added just to our show today.
Yeah. And this is back in the day when people were still getting, when registered sex offenders were still getting Viagra off of their government insurance.
Really?
Yes, it stopped in 2005.
Wow.
Yes.
You know what, though? A couple of years of freedom. That's all we can guarantee here in America. God, can you just imagine being... Because that's what's hard is that, like, even as a...
How are you going to say it?
The idea of starting my day hard as an offender is just like, you're already going to get hard. You're definitely going to get super, super hard over something super inappropriate. Why are you getting extra hard on it?
But no, that's the thing, is that David Parker Ray didn't get hard. But he was still an offender. So getting hard doesn't necessarily correlate to being an offender.
Andre Chikatilo as well.
Yeah.
There was so much Viagra everywhere back then. I remember it used to be all over my school in high school around this same time period.
That's insane.
It's really crazy. I remember we talked one kid into taking it before football practice. But he had to go home.
It's so weird.
Oh, man.
My fucking
my boner.
killing me.
Man, my cup is filling up, dude. I gotta go.
Oh, yeah, man, that's evil, dude.
No, David, before the Viagra, he'd always seemed kind of standoffish to his coworkers at the park. They all considered David to be a bit of a loner, kind of a dull guy. But mostly, David was seen as a scrounger who was concerned with taking home broken equipment and spare parts from around the park. Little did his coworkers know, however, that David was actually using those abandoned and broken components from Elephant Butte State Park to build the majority of his homemade torture devices. But once David started taking Viagra, his fellow employees said that David became much friendlier and was much more talkative about his sex life.
Howdy, y'all. Dating, huh? It sucks. The apps, what do you even do? Everybody's going on about height, right? I'm a bit of a sharp-dressed man.
He was. He started adorning himself in turquoise jewelry. He started wearing cowboy hats. This is all the want of your average New Mexican whitey. He just finally had the money to do it.
Yeah, and the dick. Now it's been the hardest parts, honestly, because I hate being a hypocrite. And I don't want to be some big old dandy man if I'm not just using a mutant power drill and a tied-down woman. Now, at least, I can get hard as well, watching it all happen. And goddamn, it has done so much for my self-esteem.
That's right. And you know what else has done well for my self-esteem is these rattlesnake suspenders.
Yeah.
Viagra may cause many side effects, including just blah, 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 blah. I'm David Parker Ray for Viagra.
For Viagra.
A Pfizer company.
I take 9 every morning. I hang out in the toy box and wait.
Now, not too long after David got his Viagra prescription, Roy Yancey and Jessie Ray felt comfortable enough to return to TRC from Galveston. Jessie moved back in with her father at Elephant Butte, while Roy Yancey got a roommate in town.
This is Shelly, my roommate.
Jessie and Roy also quickly rejoined the TRC bar scene. There, they met and bonded with new arrival Cindy Hendy so quickly that both Roy Yancey and Jessie started dating Cindy at the same time, and all three of them would go back to David Parker Ray's trailer to fuck.
So Cindy was dating everybody.
Well, at this point, she's not quite dating David Parker Ray yet. She starts with Roy and Jessie.
So she's fucking his daughter and his co-killer.
Okay.
And then she graduates to him.
Eventually, yeah. She's got to work her way up to David. I mean, yeah, you can't go after the big dog first.
Yeah, dude. No, you got to show you got the middle. So you can handle it. Show you got enough vagina.
Now, the arrival of Cindy Hendy into the TRC party scene is one of those chance meetings that would feel like destiny if the only consequences for the stars aligning weren't just women being raped and murdered.
That's true poetry.
Actually, I think it shows that synchronicities do not make distinctions between good and evil. Well, Roy Yancey, he soon began bragging to his friends that Cindy Hendy liked being handcuffed and beaten up. But Yancey soon discovered that Cindy, she also not only liked it the other way around, but she liked it the other way around non-consensually. Roy Yancey would wake up in the middle of the night to find Cindy beating him, and once he was jolted awake, he would find that Cindy had handcuffed him as well. So Roy had no choice but to let Cindy satisfy herself so he could eventually be let free. Now, as we said last episode, David Parker Ray could be very charming in his own Elephant Butte fashion, but once Viagra came into the mix, David gained a newfound confidence. As such, David and his daughter Jessie began inviting swaths of local women and tourists from around the TRC area onto David's sailboat, where they would take long expeditions that were women only except for David. These expeditions came to be known as Ladies' Days. But the reason why I bring up Ladies' Days is because Ladies' Days is just, it sounds like, I mean, yeah.
Ladies' Days.
It just sounds like, yeah, all
Many
those like
ladies,
Southwest,
many
like they
days.
used to have like Wild Horse Prairie Days back home. It's
Yeah.
like there's always the days that this one's awful.
Many ladies on each day. Many days. So it's ladies' days. Every day has many ladies. And there are many days.
Well, the interesting thing about the days is that sometimes the days will be only one day.
Yep.
Yeah.
But then there's a series of them throughout the month.
Well, with all
Those
the
are
drugs he was giving him, it could have been DAZE.
Well,
Very true.
very cute.
Well, the reason why I bring up... Yeah, that's the cutest roofie joke I've ever heard. But the reason why I bring up Ladies' Days is because on one Ladies' Day in particular, David gave one of his passengers insight into why none of the bodies of David's victims have ever been found. On one voyage, David began a conversation with one of his young female passengers by pointing out the deepest areas of the lake, which in my opinion leans on the implication a little too hard.
It's not flirting.
No.
Yeah.
Now, after pointing out the deepest points of the lake, David began pontificating on the best ways to dispose of a human body within said lake. He told this young girl that a man could open up the chest of a corpse and fill it with rocks as ballast.
Okay. Yeah.
Theoretically.
Yeah. Wow.
And theoretically, the chest cavity would then need to be bound tightly with chicken wire, so the rocks
Chicken's good.
that way the rocks can never come loose. Theoretically.
Yeah, it sounds a good theory.
And finally, the body would be dropped overboard to sink to the bottom of the lake, where David said, quote, "The catfish would enjoy a 3-star meal."
That sounds like fun. I want a nice meal. I like catfish.
You know, it's interesting to me that he chose 3-star.
Yeah. 5 is the good. It's not even, he doesn't even appreciate the meal.
Well, that's the thing, is that he knows that it's not the best meal that a catfish could have.
Yeah, best thing a catfish can eat is cornmeal.
Which tells you that he thought about it a lot.
Yeah.
Like, how now, when I'm putting all these women in this lake, how are the catfish feeling about it?
Yeah,
Are they
honestly.
liking it? Now, Roy Yancey was also invited on David's boat from time to time. But being bisexual, Roy would also sometimes bring his roommate, a guy also named David.
This is David.
Because Roy...
You twins.
Because Roy was also banging David. Now, roommate David immediately got the shiver jimmies when he met Jesse and serial killer David, and he tried his best to get Roy Yancey to stop hanging out with him. Roy, however, insisted, "Nah, they're cool," and he therefore kept up the friendship. That's actually what he told me. He's like, "Nah, they're cool, whatever."
Yeah.
Now, if a friend is telling you that your other friends are bad news, and it's not like a Valley Girl situation where they just don't like his clothes or where he's from.
Yeah, it's not
like,
making fun of him for having androids.
don't be stubborn, because
Yeah.
there's a big difference between he's bad because he dresses weird and he's bad because I get the feeling that an ancient evil lurks within his soul.
That's what I like about him.
Yeah, just because someone's nice to you, and if everyone else says they're horrible, just give it another lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just think about it.
But despite his own warnings, roommate David figured, all right, fuck it. If you say they're cool, they're cool. But that surrender led roommate David into being a witness to some pretty fucked up and highly incriminating shit on serial killer David's boat one dark evening.
Hey, Roy, just so you know, roommate Dave doesn't really want to be key witness Dave. Okay? So let's get the hell out of here. I have no idea what I'm even doing in this town.
But I do like being on a boat.
This is nice. I always said you never do anything nice. We never do anything nice. So in this, I have to give you credit. But otherwise, it's a bad boat.
Well, during one particularly boozy night, Roy and roommate David were invited to a party on David Parker Ray's boat, along with Jesse Ray, Cindy Hindy, some dude named George,
That's George.
and a woman named Angelica Montano. Before long, the partygoers were smoking dope, drinking beer and whiskey, and, in some cases, shooting heroin. All while David Parker Ray blasted Pink Floyd on his big-ass, battery-powered boombox 90s style.
One of these days, I'm going to cut you up into little pieces.
Oh, yeah, that is a Pink Floyd line.
No, but these guys just, hello, is there anybody out there?
Yeah, sure.
Just that over and over again.
Oh, yeah, very much. All the spacey stuff.
Yeah. But it must be said that while David Parker Ray might have supplied the drugs during these parties, and he may have been a notorious chain smoker, he was never seen drinking even so much as a single beer himself. Same thing they said about Manson. Manson was, at least near the end, Manson was always sober.
Yeah,
And
really?
David Parker,
Oral?
yeah, David Parker Ray is the same way.
John Wayne Gacy.
I thought he was hammered on coke and weed all the time.
He would, but then sometimes he would, if he knew that he had a bunch of dudes, and he'd pretend to drink.
Oh.
Yes.
It depended on how, with Gacy, it depended on how on his toes he felt like he needed to be.
Yes.
And David Parker Ray felt like he needed to be on his toes all the time because he was a true predator. He was always looking out for that opportunity. And I think with him, because, on the boat, the crazy thing about it is that they said that like hundreds of girls came onto David Parker Ray's boat and nothing happened to him.
Yeah, he just took money from him, essentially. He used it as a little job.
If even that, sometimes it was just hanging out with David and Cindy on the boat. With David Parker Ray, he, I think, stayed sober at all times so he could be clear-headed enough to recognize if he could attack a woman and get away with it. Like he didn't want to make any foolish mistakes.
Now, a lot of these guys drink afterwards the cope. Did he do that even, or
no?
He stayed sober the whole time?
Totally sober.
Oh,
yeah.
no, he didn't feel guilt.
No.
There's no guilt here.
No.
No, he believed that all humans were tools to be used.
Now, as it almost always went with a David Parker Ray party, shit started getting dark when the clothes started coming off. Jesse, Cindy, and newcomer Angelica all began stripping, but very suddenly, Angelica, who was almost certainly on heroin, she found herself being handcuffed and stretched out on a long table by Cindy and Jesse. As roommate David looked on in stunned horror, Jesse quickly grabbed a camcorder and began videotaping, while Roy Yancey grabbed a cattle prod to shock Angelica's genitals while Cindy held her down. Now that is indeed fucked up, but what's almost just as fucked up is that Roy Yancey was surprised to see that his roommate David held the opinion that tying a drugged and naked woman down and shocking her genitals with a cattle prod was a fucked up thing to do.
I thought we were going on the wine tour. I thought that we were going to go to a spa or something.
Yeah. Then Roy's like, what's the big deal?
This is what we do for fun. We're on the boat.
Yeah, we're sailing.
It's ladies' days.
This is how you sail. No, he did actually tell him, he's like, oh no, it's just a sex thing. Like, but what are you freaked out about? People like this. People like it. They enjoy it. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, technically, if everybody's consenting, it's fine. You just need to sort of clear that with everybody.
Yeah, but roommate David was like, I don't think she's consenting.
No.
I don't think she wants this to happen to her.
No, I don't think so.
Also, at the very least, the word cattle should never be brought into a sexual situation.
Unless, of course, people like to zap their penises and their vaginas. I've seen it.
Yeah.
People do it.
Yeah, people do it. People
like
sometimes love it.
Que sera, sera.
You know? I ain't gonna yuck your yum.
But in the end, Angelica survived the night and woke up in a terrible state
You're Mexican.
after the abuse she suffered. She was, however, too afraid to go to the police, and her incredibly intense drug addiction would ensure that this was not the last time she would cross paths with David Parker Ray's crew. See, from what it seems like, Cindy and Jesse used their gender as a sort of lure to make girls like Angelica comfortable.
As always.
It's the same game played by so many other couples who kill. Basically, having a girl present makes a possible victim more likely to take a chance, and they are therefore more likely to get in the car with the creepy old man. And to that point, as I said, David, Cindy, and Jesse regularly brought home young female hitchhikers, and a girl who spent a lot of time on David's boat said that it was possible that hundreds of other girls may have passed through David Parker Ray's world with varying degrees of molestation and murder.
It was his entire life.
Yeah.
He dedicated
That's why he moved to Elephant Butte.
Yes, he dedicated every minute of his life to the sexual game.
Yeah.
And it is. We've covered a lot of guys. We've made fun of them. We've always kind of talked about this idea, especially with serial killing. It comes out of extreme mediocrity. This is no different. But David Parker Ray was actually, unfortunately, very good at this. And this is an example of somebody that went a real long time without anybody being caught. And it's kind of one of those really very scary things of how many other David Parker Rays were out there and are currently out there.
Yeah, David Parker Ray was caught at the age of 59, and he built the toy box, I think, around the time he turned 50. So, there was still, 49 years. Who knows what the fuck he was doing? We talked about it a little bit last episode, but there's really not a whole lot known about his life up until that point. And there are a lot of these guys, as you said, are born out of mediocrity. I don't think David Parker Ray was. I think David Parker Ray lived life exactly how he wanted to live it at all times and was very pleased with himself because of it. And that's fucking terrifying to know that there's many men out there like that. Now, by Halloween of 1998, David Parker Ray and Jesse threw a small party at their trailer that supposedly included a black magic sacrifice to the devil. Cindy was reportedly all in when it came to black magic after Roy Yancey had allegedly introduced her to the occult, and she was excited that David had picked out a dress specifically for her to wear that night. This night, it seems, was a turning point for Cindy. It could be that Cindy Hendy saw David Parker as the more powerful man in the group, because it was around Halloween of 1998 that Cindy stopped seeing Roy Yancey so she could move in with David on a casual basis. Although Cindy was also still seeing David's daughter Jessie. So to make it absolutely clear for those of you not familiar with these sorts of situations, Cindy was casually living in David Parker-Ray's double-wide while carrying on a sexual relationship with both David and David's own daughter, all while they lived in the same domicile.
It's a family affair. It's a family affair.
There's barely a door in that place.
And a double wide?
Yeah.
They got a couple of bedrooms in a double wide.
Hey, when daddy and daughter are fucking the same person, who needs a door? Who needs all that soundproofing? It all is, it's just daddy teaching daughter.
I don't know why I thought he had a home, like a house.
That trailer's a home.
I meant house.
Yeah. Double wide's definitely a home. In double wide's, it's pretty big.
You can really knock it in there. You can really nail it into the ground.
It's twice as wide. I get it.
Yeah, and God, it's so long. It's wide,
long.
it's long. The square footage in a double wide is
It's
surprising.
a lot of stuff you could do in a double wide.
Now, even though Cindy was now technically with David Parker-Ray, the new living situation didn't preclude Roy Yancey from engaging in sexual dalliances with Cindy within said double wide. That November, Cindy hired the local grocery store owner, a guy named Rick Hart, to take some sexy shots of her in David's trailer, because Rick the grocer also thought of himself as something of a photographer.
Yes, I call my wins. I take pictures of all of the... Hey, wait a minute. You want 2 for 1 squash? 2 for 1 squash, huh? I take naked pictures of your father, daughter, fuck woman.
Excuse me, did you take the pictures of these grapes?
Yeah. Yeah, you like the shine? You like the grease on them?
Listen, I think I have a... This seems crazy to ask, but...
Let me guess. You're fucking your father's girlfriend, huh? And you want me to take nude pictures of you, your father, and your daughter in one big fuck kind of triangle.
Oh, my God.
I will do it for free. You just please 2 for 1 squash.
I'll buy the squash.
2 for 1 squash.
What a salesman. Well, Rick the grocer obliged and took some very flesh world-like photos of Cindy.
Play with your father's balls more.
No, these are solo shots.
Oh,
this is just Cindy in the trailer by herself, like nude.
Very classy. Very classy.
But when Rick came back a few nights later to deliver the photos, Cindy was waiting with David and Roy Yancey. Rick the grocer was instructed to take photos of all 3 of them being intimate with each other. So Rick happily obliged by shooting images of Roy sucking Cindy's nipple while Cindy was naked, all while David looked on from the cuck chair with approval.
Hey, David, bigger smile. Big smile. You love to watch the nipple get sucked.
Yeah.
Big smile.
It ain't getting any bigger than this. It ain't getting any bigger than this. Rick,
Now,
it ain't getting
suck
any bigger.
Okay, now, Roy, when I see you suck at the nipple, what I need to do, you put entire breast in mouth. Suck whole breast into mouth.
Okay, I don't need you breathing down my neck.
David, what is this looking on your face? Are you sleeping?
Now later, Rick would defend his photos of Cindy as tasteful sexy.
Yeah.
Those are his exact words.
You can barely jerk off. You can barely jerk off with so much class.
He said that his work in the trailer was more akin to college girls flashing at spring break, which to me means that Rick the grocer would also describe a Girls Gone Wild tape as tasteful sexy.
One of my favorite food videos I've ever seen, you got these 2 young ladies, and they have one cup that they share. And the man comes and one provides some butt ice cream to the cup. I love it.
Have you heard of this? Do you know about this?
Yeah, talk about taste for sexy. Because everybody's getting a taste of it. You know what I'm saying, huh? Squash 2 for 1. You want to some of these old grapes?
But Rick, he wasn't turned off by the photo shoot at all. He actually got to know his clients pretty well over the next few months. Or so he thought. He actually believed that David Parker-Ray was the victim here, because in Rick's view, Roy Yancey and Cindy Hendy were taking advantage of a sweet, if incredibly horny, older man man in his late 50s.
You stop fooling that fucking big, tall, thrifty man. Okay? I see the two of you. I see what you do, man with silly voice, lady who looks like Muppet. I see what you fucking do. And, you should start taking advantage of that very kind man, very nice man who fucked me with broomstick. I asked him to. I begged him to.
David, you come now live with Rick. You now live with Rick. You come with me now.
Come with me. Now, this is what I call grapes. And this is what I call meat. We all call them grapes.
Now, Cindy did not keep her exhibitionist impulses to the trailer. And as an out-of-pocket person, Cindy didn't seem to be able to control these impulses no matter where she was. One of the best examples came from one of Cindy's friends, a woman named Jean, who said that Cindy showed up to her house in December of 1998 just as Jean's kids were trimming the Christmas tree. Cindy arrived in the afternoon with a girl named Trish, but both of them were already highly intoxicated.
Hi, Merry Christmas, y'all.
Yeah, man, Merry Christmas. It's not fucking Christmas unless you're drunk by 4.
Yeah.
Merry Trishfish.
Relatively quickly, Cindy was lifting up her shirt to show her bare breasts, which were heavily bruised from the extensive use of a bondage suction device.
This is a sucking device.
And as the children looked on in wonder, Cindy began making out with her friend. And it was at this point that Jean asked them to leave.
Merry Christmas. It's been a fun night. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for the gifts. They're going to love the little baby bottles of Smirnoff.
Get out of here.
My favorite murder fist line.
Me too. I say it to myself all the time.
Get out
Get out of here.
Rise from your grave.
Now, Cindy moved in permanently with David Parker Ray in January of 1999. She decided this was the guy for her. Because really, David Parker Ray, by Elephant Butte standards, he's a catch.
Yeah.
You know, he's got most of his teeth. He's got a really well-paying job. He wants to take care of you.
A toy box?
Yeah, a full-on man, and honestly, a double wide. That's 2 more than 1.
But one question the listeners might have is how David Parker Ray was able to hide his activities in the toy box if the trailer was plopped down right there in the front yard. Well, the simple answer is he didn't. By the time Cindy moved in, David had already spent months carefully training her on the best ways to help him kidnap and torture a woman. But notice that I said training, not grooming. David didn't have to groom or convince Cindy of anything, because for her, the whole toy box experience was absolutely thrilling. Consequently, after Cindy moved in, she told David that they should kidnap a woman soon so they could experience these thrills together. Now, as far as who their first victim together would be, Cindy, or at least the first one we know of, Cindy looked through her contacts and came up with the woman that they'd previously victimized on David's boat with the cattle prod, Angelica Montano. See, Angelica had stayed friends with Cindy even after the attack on the boat, which a mutual friend of theirs had chalked up to a shared interest in drugs. Cindy and David had drugs, so Angelica looked past what had happened on the boat to get the drugs. So in February of 1999, Angelica was speaking with Cindy on the phone, and Angelica lamented that she couldn't afford to buy her boyfriend a cake for his upcoming birthday. This innocent lamentation became, for some reason, the needlessly complicated web that Cindy would use to entrap Angelica for the purpose of sexual slavery.
Not through cake.
Yes, it's all through cake. Cindy promised to give Angelica a box of cake mix that Cindy had at her trailer if Angelica agreed to meet with her and David at the courthouse in Truth or Consequences after hearing that the two of them needed to attend. Angelica agreed, but on David and Cindy's arrival, Cindy slapped her forehead and said, "Oh, biscuits! I forgot the cake mix back at the trailer."
Yep.
So Cindy told Angelica that they could all drive back to Elephant Butte to pick up the cake mix. And they'd then give Angelica a ride back to Truth or Consequences so she could make the cake herself. But that is not how things went down at all.
In 98, a box of cakes mix is like $1.50.
Angelica ain't doing well.
No,
But,
she's not doing well. And let me just say, I don't know if it's necessarily about the cake mix.
No. Yeah, no, it's just, Angelica's doing very, very poorly. Now, once they got to the trailer, David grabbed a dagger, held it to Angelica's throat, and told her that she was being abducted. At first, Angelica thought David was just pulling a bad prank, but she soon realized how much trouble she was in after David punched her in the mouth and her supposed friend Cindy held a gun to her head. Before long, Angelica was naked with a padlocked silver collar around her neck, chained to the bars on either side of David and Cindy's bed inside the trailer where they both lived. This, strangely enough, would become a pattern for David and Cindy. The abduction would begin in the double wide, where torture and molestation would take place for a day, sometimes 2, sometimes 3. But the toy box would be saved until the end, as a sort of grand finale. So, after putting a leather gimp mask on Angelica's head, David played his induction tape in his and Cindy's bedroom, and once it was done, Cindy forced Angelica to swallow a roofie at gunpoint. Angelica lost consciousness, but when she woke up, she, in a very unsettling scene, found David and Cindy simply watching TV.
Pivot. I love this episode of Friends. They're doing the pivot thing. Ross is so funny. Ross and Rachel, they're just, I don't know.
Oh, is that the one where they moved the couch?
Yeah, that's the one that gets stuck on the stairwell. I just can't get enough. But Chandler has got my butt in a sling. You know, he's funny as hell. I get it, man. Snarky as hell. I don't know how they're not all laughing at his jokes in the scene.
God, dude, that's a lot of TV to get into for an entire roofie to pass and go by.
Yeah. Now, Angelica was kept in the main house under Cindy's watch when David went to work the next morning. But Angelica soon discovered that Cindy didn't really do much of anything with her day. Cindy just sat there watching soap operas and only once offered Angelica food, a shared burrito, which Angelica, of course, didn't want. All she wanted was to be set free. So she sat there all day, chained up, begging Cindy to unlock the chains. Now, it's kind of insane how people's behavior is the same, like, no matter what they're into. Because when David came home from work that night, he said he's just too tired to really do anything.
Yeah, I'm just not in the mood.
He's just wore out.
Yeah.
So David sat naked from the waist down in a t-shirt, what we call the Bad Daddy Special, while he and Cindy watched part 1 of Stephen King's Storm of the Century 3-part miniseries on TV, while Angelica was still chained to the wall.
Well, I guess me and them are alike in that way. Yeah. Because my family also sat and watched the Stephen King Storm of the Century when it first came out that night as well.
Yep. I'm sure your father had no pants on.
Oh, no, he definitely didn't. He wore bikini briefs, though, because honestly, he might want to lay a couple of paper towels down.
Did he have? Did your dad do the bikini briefs and the t-shirt thing? No shirt.
Yeah, bikini briefs.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it was forever. And then he only had to put clothes on if my sister's friends were coming.
Yeah.
For the dudes, it didn't matter.
Similar.
Yep.
Yeah, similar at my home.
Yeah, my dad was all tighty whities and like a Homer Simpson t-shirt.
Yep.
Which is probably the same exact outfit.
Yeah. Bad Daddy Special.
Bad Daddy Special. But technically, though.
No, the Bad Daddy Special is when it's no tidy whities. It's just new,
it's full naked.
Just the dick's hanging out and you're just wearing the t-shirt.
Yeah, Porky Picking it. Yeah, we've heard that.
Yeah, so mine was the regular daddy special.
Yes.
Regular
the
daddy.
dad special.
Yeah. Father dress.
Yes. Get out of the house.
Father's cock. I love seeing father's cock.
Now, at one point, Cindy left to go get groceries, which was the first time since the abduction that Angelica had been alone with David. In another incongruous moment, though, Angelica asked David for a hug, and David surprisingly reciprocated.
Oh.
He held her tenderly and reassured her that nothing bad was going to happen. But once Storm of the Century Part 1 was finished, David began rambling about the various crimes he'd committed over the years, crimes most murderous. David told Angelica that he'd killed an ex-girlfriend, and he'd killed the ex-girlfriend's little son. But this was only after he turned the ex-girlfriend's 10-year-old daughter into a sex slave. David also said that he'd once killed a man in his trailer, but then David began complaining about how much of a mess the murder had made because he'd shot him in the head. This murder, we understand, was most likely the killing of David's former boss, Billy Ray Bowers.
Now listen to me run my mouth. Listen to me just run my mouth. I'm sorry, I must be boring the hell out of you.
How much do you think of this is the truth or him just trying to scare her?
No idea.
Yeah.
I mean,
You know what's-
like I know he definitely killed Billy Ray Bowers, and it's most likely that he killed him in his trailer because David said it, and then later Cindy said the same thing. We're going to get into that, even though Cindy was there at the time. But it did say that David was saying the same thing to multiple people. I have no idea if he killed an ex-girlfriend. I do know that there was a woman already living in David's trailer when Cindy moved in. Like, some woman just kind of shows up for just a second in the narrative, and then she's just never mentioned again.
Yeah.
So
She either disappeared or he disappeared her. And the truth too was that once you're in that little world, they're so far away from everything. And we've discovered, I think, in the show that there's two types of killers besides just product and process. It's those that killed way more than you think they did, and those that killed way less than they say they did.
Yeah.
You have something like Ted Bundy that was so open to talking about his crimes that eventually, like Henry Lee Lucas too, eventually you're like, you might actually be full of shit. But David Parker Ray, I think, is guilty of way more crimes.
Yeah.
Because of the way he behaved and how kind of like controlled the environment was.
And there's also, other evidence that we'll get into later that does definitely show that there, at the very least, used to be bodies out there.
Yeah.
Now, another unnerving aspect of Angelica's abduction was that for 2 days straight, Angelica would watch Cindy send David off to work as if they didn't have one of Cindy's friends chained to their bed against her will. But things got far worse when David came home from work on day 2, refreshed and ready to take Angelica to the toy box. After giving her a bath like a dog, collar and all, Cindy applied makeup to Angelica's face while telling her that she had to look her best for the video. Angelica was then led to the toy box, where she was subjected to all manner of torture, from beatings to electric shocks to repeated insertions of foreign objects, large and small. Sometimes those items would also be electrified, and it was quite obvious that Cindy Hendy was having the time of her life, or at least that's how it went for the first hour. Fortunately for Angelica, an hour was all the time Cindy and David had before the premiere of Part 2 of Stephen King's Storm of the Century.
And much like them, me and my family were
Appointment viewing.
We were glued to the television.
God.
Yeah.
So you watched this with your family?
Yeah.
So you know now that when you were watching this with Jackie, your mother, and your father, that this woman was getting tortured. That is insane to think. Because we all watched it at the same time.
Ed, we all look at the same moon every night.
Somewhere out there.
Tonight.
Well, David and Cindy, they'd been like super into Part 1 of Storm of the Century.
That's the thing, man.
So they stopped everything on night 2 to continue the series. Later, Angelica would dryly say, quote, "Thank God for Stephen King."
Has he responded yet?
With all of his equipment and stuff like that, he could have taped it. That's all.
No, I don't want to spoil it. All right, no, this is where we go. Stephen King went to hide for a certain period of time because he was hit by the fucking bus, and then he got hit by that van, and then we didn't know if he was ever going to write anything again, and then he wrote the Storm of the Century, and everybody knew. They didn't know it was super mysterious. We didn't know what it was. We didn't know if it was going to tie back in to the Dark Tower or not. So I had to see that.
And also, I ain't going to tape it that night because the next morning I ain't going to be left out of conversation at work, and all boys going to be talking about Storm of the Century. I won't be in there. I won't be able to talk about it.
You know how it is.
I don't want to be a guy that said no spoilers, no spoilers. No. I want to talk.
And if I don't get my 8 hours, I am a bastard.
I'm a bastard. You saw me yesterday. You heard me yesterday. I was a fucking pain in the ass.
Perhaps because Angelica was a friend of Cindy's, she got far better treatment than some of the other women who were kidnapped and tortured in the toy box. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was still absolutely fucking horrendous. But Angelica had been in dangerous situations like this before, so she actually played it quite smart. In an incredible show of strength, Angelica managed to keep up the friend facade the whole time she was in David and Cindy's thrall, later saying that if she had, quote, played the bitch, they probably would have killed her. As such, David actually softened towards Angelica by the end of the 3rd day, and he even told her that he liked her as a person, and he never would have kidnapped her if he'd known her better beforehand.
If I all knew how much we all love Stephen King and the long lore in it, and how much we all wish we can't wait to read Wizards and Glass, and how we can't wait to all wonder whether or not what's he going to do, what's the gunslinger going to do, is it going to all feature in? I just wouldn't.
Well, David even allowed Angelica to call a friend so she could arrange bus fare to Albuquerque. Once travel arrangements were taken care of, David unlocked Angelica's handcuffs and collars. And after 4 days of torture, David almost paternally offered Angelica a coffee and he returned her clothes. He then asked her to come over and give him a hug. And once she did, David and Cindy drove her to the bus station without incident.
Pull it in, girl. Pull it in, girl. I just can't. What we've been through. All right.
Hell of a week, darling.
Hell of a week.
Hell of a
Crazy,
week. Hell
crazy.
of a week.
Storm of the century. Remember that? Hit down that. You remember that?
He couldn't even give her money for bus fare?
No, didn't like her that much, I guess. Now, Angelica was smart enough to keep the game going until the very end. So when she said goodbye, she told Cindy and David that she'd love to do it all again, except next time she wouldn't be playing the victim.
You hear me, y'all? I'll be on the other side. They're like, all right, hearing you. Oh, damn.
But as soon as David and Cindy drove away, probably saying, what a nice girl, Angelica sprinted out to Interstate 25 and frantically tried flagging down one of the passing cars. Eventually, she was picked up in a moment that seems serendipitous. An off-duty member of the local sheriff's department picked up Angelica from the side of the road, and after agreeing to take her to Albuquerque, he drove away with Angelica. Both of them sat there in silence. But finally, Angelica said that she had something to say, but he wouldn't believe her if she told him. Now, Angelica didn't know this guy was a cop, so when the officer pressed, Angelica felt comfortable in describing her 4 days in captivity with David Parker Ray. Now, after hearing all this, the officer owned up to his identity and asked Angelica if she was willing to go back to Truth or Consequences to file a police report. Now, maybe David said something to Angelica, maybe he didn't, but Angelica said that she would never go back to T or C because the police were involved in what David Parker Ray was doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They were definitely, someone was at least hanging out. There was somebody, because I do think that also is a part of the reason why he went under the radar for a while. I think that there was obviously they were waiting to whatever pressure point built, but there was just too much cop activity in and out of his area.
Well, and that's the and it's also just the thing, you're in these sorts of like situations and in these sorts of towns, like you really do end up finding yourselves hanging out with people that you should not be around, that you do not want to hang out with, just because there's not that many people. I say this from fucking experience, where you're like, you're sitting there and it's like, I just spent 3 hours with the worst men in the world, and I had no choice in the matter. Like, it just fucking, that's
the only man there.
It just happened. You know, like I just had to sit here and listen to it and take it for 3 hours. And I would imagine there were a lot of officers and there were a lot of cops that just happened to be hanging out with David Parker Ray, and they knew, like, oh shit, people know that I hang out with them.
Also, when you're younger and you're fucked up all the time, you don't realize that you could just not hang out with certain people.
Yeah.
You just make the mistake. Even in New York City, I'd find myself deep in the conversations with people that I'm just like, this person's a criminal. And then you see him again the next day because you really, frankly, don't know any better yet.
Yeah, you really don't. Now, Angelica kept asking the officer what she should do, and the officer kept telling her that they couldn't do anything unless she filed a report. But Angelica, unfortunately, would never get around to it. So the officer was, quote-unquote, pressed for time. So when he got to Albuquerque without having successfully convinced Angelica to file a report, he dropped her off at a bus station just outside of town. And instead of going to the police, Angelica went to her father for justice. After telling him everything that happened, Angelica and her father were fully planning to return to Elephant Butte to murder David and Cindy for what they'd done.
Now, that would have been a very cool ending to this whole fucking story, sadly.
It would have been an incredible ending to the story. But in yet another tragedy in a life full of them, Angelica's father was gunned down by a 15-year-old boy outside of a Taco Bell in a drug deal gone bad just 4 days after she told him about her ordeal. Completely distraught and still unwilling to trust the police in any capacity, Angelica decided that she would leave David and Cindy's fate to God for the time being, while she returned to a life of sex work and drug addiction.
I mean, she had to be somewhat right. I mean, she told a cop about David Parker Ray, and David Parker Ray kept doing what he was doing.
I mean, without someone there to file a report, I mean, the cop, and that's the thing, is that the cop, he was a sheriff in Sierra County, which is, that's the county where Truth or Consequences is. It's not like it was out of his fucking jurisdiction. No. It wasn't.
He just didn't want to deal with it because they didn't believe a woman. He didn't believe a woman that was basically still a sex worker that was a drug addict, and he didn't want to deal with her. And she's completely right, because it is not her burden to stop it. She just got out.
Yeah.
And she should just have never go back to truth or consequences ever again.
Yeah. Now, from what it seems like, Angelica was far from the only woman that Cindy and David victimized in the relatively short period of time they were together. In all, David and Cindy, they were actually only together for about 6 months before it all came crashing down. They had been in each other's social circle for about a year before that, but, I mean, it burned bright and burned fast.
You know what I view this as? It's like you know how we used to talk about how when serial killers slide into berserker mode?
Mm-hmm.
It's like that.
It is.
But it's with the two of them. David Parker Ray alone could handle it. Mm-hmm. But once he had her in there and threw a bunch of gasoline on it,
Oh, yeah.
they're really getting reckless and they're really getting insane.
He may have never got caught.
He wouldn't have. I don't think he would have ever gotten caught if he hadn't brought Cindy into it. I think he would have died just a few years later.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. I don't think he'd lived that much longer.
No, just a few. No.
He had a massive heart attack.
Yeah, he was a chain smoker. He
Yes.
he was not healthy.
And that's something you can learn from him. Stop smoking.
Yeah.
But regardless of how long David and Cindy had known each other, David had apparently told Cindy quite a bit about his own illicit activities that had occurred before they met. See, when Cindy got drunk or high, she got chatty. And while this had absolutely nothing to do with their capture, Cindy's big mouth should have gotten them arrested long before they got caught. See, just a few months after the abduction of Angelica Montano, Cindy went over to her friend Jean's house, the one where she'd shown Jean's kids her bruised up tits the previous Christmas. That one, yeah.
Oh, that Christmas.
Yeah.
Amazing they let her back.
It's
man,
almost like it's the only people they know.
It's the way it goes, man. It is the way it goes. People do fucked up shit. You're mad at them for about a month, maybe a couple weeks, and then they come back and they do it again.
Remember when Cindy almost ruined Christmas?
Yeah. Yeah. She's on her way over.
Hey, great. Oh, so she can ruin Arbor Day, too?
Well, once Cindy showed up at Jean's house, she began downing a bottle of white wine with Jean and Jean's husband. Before long, Cindy was telling her host that her boyfriend, David Parker Ray, he was a serial killer who'd killed hundreds of women over a period of 20 years, and that Cindy personally knew of 6 or 7 women whose bodies had ended up in the bottom of the lake. Now, she wasn't tearfully confessing this. She was saying this with a smile. She was bragging. She loved it. And Cindy didn't stop at telling her friends that her boyfriend was a serial killer. Far from it. Cindy talked about how much she actually loved that he was a serial killer. She proudly stated that she'd always been intrigued by serial killers. Cindy then talked about the toy box, spilled everything about the toy box, said that there was a blood stain the size of a quarter that wouldn't come out. It was from the time she said that David shot a man in the head inside the toy box. But David, he learned from the messiness of that murder. He didn't fucking shoot anybody in the head anymore. Now he strangles people to death because it's cleaner, you know? And Cindy said that she couldn't wait to experience the rush of strangling someone to death with her own 2 hands. And she was going to do it soon.
Do you want some stuffing? We actually have, I don't know what else we got for sides. I don't know if you got any kind of dietary restrictions or anything. We got some cranberry sauce.
That's great. But the thing is about that you don't understand, like when you actually kill a human being, when you put their hands around their throat and their eyes start like bugging out, they start bugging out so bad.
Yeah, that sounds great. Why don't we put little Marie to sleep? I just sort of remind me of Christmas,
It just shows how much people probably don't pay attention to each other.
Yeah, that's
Crazy.
No way.
And Cindy then described David's method of slitting open corpses to fill their innards with rocks so they'd sink to the bottom of the lake. And, and really, as I'm reading all this, I realized that Cindy probably took a big hit of meth right before going inside.
There's no way, because especially they're like, much like how we did with, as you notice, how Deborah here put a lovely lemon and a onion inside of the chicken in order to add an aromatic part of it. Yes, I can agree. Can you please leave? Can you get the fuck out of here? Yeah. Get the fuck out of my house.
And finally, just as she was leaving, Cindy told Jean and her husband that she and David were planning to take another victim soon to keep David busy while Cindy visited friends in Seattle.
Great, Cindy. See you soon. All right, bye now. Bye, Cindy. Bye, Cindy.
No, but that's the thing is that he's going to be gone, and so he's going to need something to do. So I'm definitely going to get a woman, and then I'm going to go to Seattle, and he's going to have a big, good time over there.
Love it, Cindy. See you soon. Bye-bye. Very tired. Time for work.
Please get your bruised up tits out my house.
Now, whether all the rest of it was bullshit or not, that's up for debate. But we do know that the last statement Cindy made was true, because she did indeed have a visit to Seattle coming up, and a kidnapping did occur. But regardless of the veracity of Sydney's statements, what, you may ask, was Jean and her husband's reaction to her confessions? Well, put simply, just as soon as Cindy left, they turned to each other and said, "Oh, bull honky, she ain't killed nobody."
All you got to be is super not reliable.
Yeah.
No one believes anything.
They didn't believe a word she said, and instead they just considered the encounter as another wacky night with six-pack Cindy.
Honestly, I probably would have done the same thing.
Oh, yeah. You know how many things, because I also feel as a comedian, too, I sometimes don't have, like, a proper register when someone says something that's either extremely offensive or over the top or something like that, because sometimes I'll just go like haha yeah, and not even kind of like really put it all together until later on, and you realize like they've sort of maybe confessed a crime to me or something. Yeah.
Now, as horrible as the consequences were, Cindy and David's relationship, it was obviously special.
Yeah.
So, 2 days after Cindy fully outlined not only David's entire serial killing career, but also her plans to join him in the future to her friends, David proposed.
Wow.
And the two planned to marry in June at a ceremony by the lake.
Oh, that's just how beautiful that would have been. Over by the lake with all the bodies in it.
You remember that night when we was out there on the lake and we dumped that body right out there?
Yeah, I do. You know, I was thinking is that you could stab my clit.
I could. And I will.
Now, I have all these rings covered in blood.
Yeah, good.
Would you like any one of them?
Yes, do not clean them.
But you get one. I know. You just get one.
The wedding, however, would never come to pass because David and Cindy would only have a short time together as a serial killing or at least serial abducting couple. Because soon, a woman would escape from their clutches alive and running. Now, the plan for that march, as Cindy had told Gene, was to kidnap a woman so David would have something to do while Cindy was out of town. David, however, had convinced Cindy to postpone her trip to Seattle because he didn't want her to miss out on the excitement of kidnapping a new sex slave. So the two of them set off for Albuquerque on March 20th in their white Toyota truck with the camper attached to the back. This was with the express purpose of meeting a pimp named Terry who could unwittingly provide them with their next victim.
Yes, it is me, Terry the pimp. Everybody, all you hoes, line up. Okay, let's see your faces. Hand the money over to me, bitch. Thank you. All right. Yes, say you're welcome. Okay, thank you. All right, let me see your Yelp reviews.
Now, Terry the pimp introduced David and Cindy to a 22-year-old woman named Cynthia Vigil, who agreed to give David oral sex in his camper for $30. Coincidentally, Cindy's birth name was also Cynthia.
How amazing.
It's a coincidence that Cindy's last
It really
their
is.
last victim has the same birth name.
You say coincidence, I say happy accident.
There's just a lot of names. You know, there's two Davids, there's a couple of Cynthias.
Oh, yeah.
Kismet.
Limited. But once Cynthia, the active sex worker, was inside the camper, David pulled out a fake badge and a pair of handcuffs, said this is a bust, and Cindy busted out of the camper's bathroom with a stun gun. Now, Cynthia Vigil was as tough as her name suggests, so taking her down wasn't easy. But finally, David and Cindy managed to handcuff, shackle, and duct tape Cynthia before driving her back to Elephant Butte. That's what it took to take Cynthia down. It took handcuffs, shackles, and a shitload of duct tape.
I mean, you know, she's a lady of the streets of Albuquerque.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes,
that's a tough situation.
And unfortunately, yes, Cynthia was definitely a bit of an escape artist. Yeah, so good luck with her.
Now, after they brought Cynthia inside their double wide and played her the tape, David and Cindy took to the torture routine that was by this point customary: electrodes and spiky dildos, metal bars, and chains. But this time, David added something new, something that he had threatened in his tape, but, as far as we know, only did once. After fetching a can of gravy from the kitchen, David dipped his fingers inside and pushed the gravy into Cindy's vagina. Then, David brought in his dog from outside and let the animal lick it all away. You satisfied now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are all you sick fucks out there satisfied that we talked about the dog?
Last podcast left is brought to you by Factor Meals. One of the most, you'd be really surprised what you can get with Factor.
Fucking dogs will love anybody.
Yeah, dogs will love you.
In any situation.
Yeah.
Now, Cynthia was put through a lot over the next couple of days. Ordeals involving suspensions, hog ties, whips, clamps, and an elaborate system of extremely painful pulleys and weights that were all made from Elephant Butte State Park equipment. And incredibly, all this happened before Cynthia was even taken into the toy box. This all happened in the double wide. But on the morning of March 22nd, Cynthia awoke to find herself handcuffed and shackled to the wall, while David was getting ready for work. David unlocked the handcuffs but left Cynthia chained up. But just before he left, he promised her that when he returned, he was going to introduce her to the place where they were all going to have some real fun. David was going to take her to the toy box. Now, upon that threat, Cynthia became extraordinarily determined to never find out what the fuck happened inside the toy box. But luckily for her, Cindy was still spending pretty much the entirety of her days obliviously watching soaps. And on that day, Cindy had also, quite stupidly, left the keys to the padlock that was holding Cynthia captive. She left the keys on a coffee table just a few feet from where Cynthia was being held. Now, Cindy was fully entranced in her daytime TV by 3 p.m., which, if I remember correctly, 3 p.m.'s Judge Judy time?
I mean, I don't know. It could be the Cosby Show time. in our area,
it is 1999, so yeah, 3 p.m. is also Bewitched time.
Ooh, yeah. Could have been a whole myriad of horrible television shows.
When was Wapner?
Yeah.
Wapner was also 3.
Was Wapner, but was People's Court over at this point?
Mills Lane. Could have been Mills Lane. It's definitely a court show.
Or Judge Joe Brown.
No, Judge Joe Brown wasn't around yet. There was an overlap between Wapner and Judge Judy, but Judge Judy eventually took over.
Yeah, she actually hired an assassin to kill Wapner in his sleep.
I know at 5 p.m. Supermarket Sweep was on USA, and I love that show.
Night Court used to come on at 6.
Of course, people frantically running around food and shoving it in a...
Quick, get the ham!
Well, while Cindy was duly distracted in the living room, watching whatever was on 3 p.m. At 3 p.m. coming out of Albuquerque, Cynthia made her move in the bedroom. After stretching herself across the table as far as the chain would allow, Cynthia wrapped her feet around the base of the coffee table and slowly pulled it towards her. Finally, after a lot of scooting, Cynthia grabbed the keys and opened the padlock. Actually, tiptoeing, Cynthia made her way across the den and picked up the phone to dial 911. But just as the operator answered, Cindy walked in and caught Cynthia in the act. Thinking fast, Cindy grabbed a glass lamp and smashed it over Cynthia's head. But Cynthia, as I said earlier, was among the toughest ladies in New Mexico. While blood gushed from multiple wounds, Cynthia managed to grab a blunt instrument from the table, which she used to smash Cindy's head in over and over until Cindy was knocked unconscious. Covered in blood and totally naked, Cynthia burst out of David's trailer and ran barefoot down a dirt road as fast as she could, trying to get anyone to stop and help her. The first person she ran into was an old lady who locked her doors and sped away, while the second just swerved around her. But finally, after running for 3 blocks, Cynthia spotted an unusually nice double wide with manicured grass and a covered porch. This person, Cynthia figured, just might give a fuck. And sure enough, after knocking on the door, Cynthia was relieved to find that the owner was all too willing to help. Cindy, meanwhile, had regained consciousness soon after Cynthia escaped and immediately called David at work to tell him what happened. For his part, David just told her to stay calm. He said, "I'm on my way. Together, we're going to get in the RV. We're going to find her." But by the time David Parker Ray had picked up Cindy in his RV at the trailer, Cynthia had already called 911, and police had already set up roadblocks. And since an RV is no sort of a chase vehicle, David and Cindy surrendered when they hit the block, and they were finally arrested for their many crimes.
I do believe he might have known at that point that it was over.
Oh, as soon as she called and said that she escaped, he knew it was over.
Yeah, and that because that was he knew. And I think that it's just that thing of like, God damn it, Cindy. You know, like, I knew you fucked this up. Feeding Janet, this fucking muppet ass.
And he still went back for her.
Of course, he loved her. He was something.
Well, I think at this point, I think they always had a plan for, they might escape. What are we going to say if they escape? I know they had some sort of plan because when they were arrested and interrogated, they had the same fucking story.
Yeah.
They both said that everything that had occurred between them and Cynthia Vigil was totally consensual and had, in fact, been a part of a transaction. Cynthia, they said, was trying to kick heroin, and David and Cindy had agreed to help her in exchange for some bondage sessions. The whole thing was simple barter. It gone wrong.
Always spank the heroin out of people.
Yeah, you don't kick heroin, you shoot it.
Yeah.
David, however, couldn't help but get carried away during his interrogation. While talking to the police, David took a pen and paper and made a detailed drawing of a butt plug, then fully described how he'd inserted it and why.
And what's important here, honestly, the most important part of the butt plug is the end bit here that sticks out of the butt, because that's what keeps it from sliding all the way into the intestines.
Yeah, without this, you ain't getting it back.
Without that is just a missile into your colon. All right? The end part actually is what makes it the plug.
Yeah. Without it, that ain't yours no more once you put it in.
Yeah, that belongs to God in the butt.
But at that point, it seems like David realized what was happening. He realized that the cops were pumping him for information. He realized that the cops were getting him excited. So he told them that he better get a lawyer because, quote,
I think I'm in a lot of trouble.
A lot of trouble. As far as being in trouble went, David was indeed correct. When the Truth or Consequences Police Department opened just David's trailer, never mind his toy box, they knew they were fully out of their league. So they immediately turned the case over to the New Mexico State Police.
Now, is that a mixture of just, is that is that actual understanding, or is that pure laziness?
Yeah.
Is that just be like, well, there's a lot of paperwork, don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. We're all stupid.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys know, but between us, we have, and there's 10 members over here of the Truth or Consequences Police Department. We together have an IQ of 150.
And did not Socrates say, I only know that which I do not know? And so there is for wisdom in us being lazy.
Quit talking that sense. They're going to give us a case.
Well, within days, David and Cindy were facing 90 years in prison. But predictably, when a judge set their bail at $1 million each, Cindy rolled over on the supposed love of her life as fast as humanly possible. She called the agent in charge and told him that David Parker Ray, he'd murdered at least 14 people, he'd used makeup to make his victims more photogenic for the videos he made and sold before killing them, he'd buried and dumped bodies all over the Southwest, and after hearing all that, the agent at the New Mexico State Police also figured I ain't good enough to deal with this one. So he kicked it to the FBI.
Yeah, somebody's got to handle somebody's going to come and it's going to write all what you just said down, lady, okay?
So he's selling these tapes all over the country, maybe the world.
Yeah.
Did anyone ever find any of these tapes when raiding somewhere else?
I don't know. I have no idea.
The information I have is, I actually got a really interesting in Atlanta. I'm going to, before I even really talk about it, I'm going to flesh it out more. But there is a central figure that is attached to a lot of this. And I do think that you'd be surprised. I think when he put out those videos, it was out the death part. So it was just the S&M stuff.
Yeah.
And so it was going
there's
out.
no murder. There's not snuff films.
Yes. So that is just, it's definitely out there. It's for certain out there.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm sure. I would not be surprised if somewhere on the internet, on some tube site, that there is a David Parker Ray video that we just don't know what the fuck it is.
Yeah, and I'm not there yet.
Yeah, I'm not super looking for that.
Well, because the guy, I was talking to Atlanta, a guy was just like, you mean tell me you don't use Tor? Like you do the dark web? And I was just like, no. No.
Why?
There isn't well-written shit there.
No.
Well, just like, I went to go found old David Parker Ray's tape, and my wife is ecstatic. She can't wait for me to show her all the David Parker Ray original tapes I found.
Yeah. I gained nothing from it, and yet I watched them anyway.
And it's a crime. Everyone's angry at me.
Our Google search histories are awful enough.
Oh, yeah.
Now, after throwing David under the bus, it seems like Cindy figured that she might as well get as much mileage out of snitching as she possibly can.
Oh, yeah.
So she also brought up Roy Yancey and told investigators that Roy had killed a woman named Marie Parker years before.
And I'll do it again!
And as it was at the time, investigators did think that this case was about to blow wide open, because just after Cindy rolled over on Roy, investigators found bones in David's backyard, and those bones did indeed appear human. Going off that, investigators began to believe that cold cases were about to be solved by the dozens, that countless families would finally discover what had happened to their missing loved ones. But tragically, no bodies were turning up. Police dug through every inch of David's property and found nothing else. Likewise, the divers scouring Elephant Butte Lake found nothing either. And this was despite the fact that they were in possession of a map found inside the toy box that had about a dozen X's marking locations, exact locations, all around the fucking lake.
It sounds like that also might have been a plant.
It might have been, but the lake water was... the lake water in man-made lakes.
Oh no, it's the you can't even.
It's just algae. It's all algae blooms. You can't see. You cannot see anything. What you get, it's not just mud. You don't just have like the muddy water of the Rio Grande. Like, yeah, that's definitely a factor, but it's also the fucking algae.
Now, is this the lake in the state park, or is this a separate lake?
Guess it's a lake in the state park. I guess
I
it's
don't
the
know.
only one.
Yeah, because then...
How many lakes are there?
Yeah, not that many in New Mexico. I know that much. So people are just kayaking over all these bodies all the time.
Very much so.
Oh, Elephant Butte Lake is very much a recreational facility.
Yeah, no, I'm just looking at these guys having a great time.
Oh, you're looking at the... Oh, you're at the website. Okay,
he's looking at the website.
Yeah, no.
Well, speaking of which, even when human material did show up on the lake, it proved to be useless. Just a few months after David's arrest, a fisherman, a guy out there on the lake just trying to have a good time, he spotted a burlap bag floating on the water. The bag had split open to reveal its contents, and those contents were described as, quote, pinkish clumps of cheese-like material. The material was determined to be human flesh and bone, but it had been in the water far too long to be of any use. And that was just what happened when one guy actually reported something. Who knows how many people saw awful shit floating in Elephant Butte and just left it because they didn't want to get involved.
I would start screaming and then run away and then not think about it for years.
Yeah, it does happen. But also, I do think it's an essential nature of this place.
Yeah.
I think
Like we said last week, it's a place where people go to be left alone.
Yes, so they want to be left alone, so they leave others alone. So everybody's minding their quote unquote minding their own business, even though everybody knows everything about everybody.
Oh, of course, you want to know about everything about everybody, but yeah, and that's the things you look at over on the side of there's also all sorts of shit floating in these lakes. Like it's not like these are a bunch of fucking conservationists and environmentalists. They're just throwing shit in these fucking waters. But when it came to the investigation, the worst horror, of course, was the toy box itself. See, every item inside had to be cataloged, and a young special agent named Patty Rust was tasked with making detailed drawings and diagrams of every single thing contained therein. But the futility of it all, the sadness and the pain, it was all far too much for Agent Rust. A week after completing her task, she walked out of the toy box, pulled her service weapon, and shot herself in the head.
Jesus Christ.
So she did it at the toy box or at home?
It was she did it at the toy box. They had taken the FBI had taken the toy box and moved it to their offices in Santa Fe, where everything could be cataloged and where the whole thing, and it was in Santa Fe. Yeah, she just walked on, it broke her completely.
Oh, God.
I can see it.
Yeah, it's fucked up because also I think that once you see how much evidence was in there, how much stuff, and there's nothing to stick him with.
Yeah, I mean they're gonna get him. They're gonna get him, but not in the way that you wanna.
No.
Now, Roy Yancey was picked up from his job as a short-order cook after Cindy told on him.
You want him smothered and covered? Hello.
Pick it up. Who likes marshmallows on the sandwiches? I do.
I do.
I love it.
Well, after Roy was picked up, he spilled just as much as Cindy. And eventually, victims like Kelly Garrett were identified and questioned as well. And Kelly Garrett gave investigators enough information to also arrest David Parker Ray's daughter, Jessie. But in the end, the sentences handed out were either paltry or ultimately unsatisfying. Roy Yancey was sentenced to 20 years in prison for the murder of Marie Parker. But even though the death of Kenneth Lee Lane was investigated, Yancey never got the charge. David Parker Ray, meanwhile, had 3 trials that collectively came to be known as the David Parker Ray Tour. These concerned the kidnappings of Cynthia Vigil, Kelly Garrett, and Angelica Montano, all stories that we talked about on this show. But the reason why we talked about these stories is because these women were the only 3 out of the possible hundreds that David brutalized who could be identified and or found. They only found Kelly Garrett because of a photo of a tattoo. They found a photo of a tattoo, they tracked her down, and then when they told her, hey, this happened to you, all of the memories came flooding back. She didn't remember any of it until after David Parker Ray was caught and the FBI had to come and show her pictures of what happened to her.
So brutal.
Incredibly brutal. Well, as such, David Parker Ray was ultimately sentenced to 223 years in prison after he tried to get a dominatrix to testify on his behalf about what everyone in the court just didn't understand about rough sex.
That's how, think about that. Think about that. He was setting that up.
You try and throw in anything you could to not get in prison.
Yes.
But infamously, David Parker Ray served less than one of those 223 years as he died from a heart attack on May 28th, 2002. As far as Cindy and Jesse went, they both got off incredibly light. Jesse Ray ended up serving just 2 years in prison, got 5 years probation. She's just fucking out there. Like I said last episode, there was a Reddit comment that said that someone took a trucking course with her, and she is mean.
Yeah, I bet.
Cindy Hendy, meanwhile, she was released in 2019. As of 2024, Cindy lives in a community in Washington state that is in no way happy to have her there.
Man, I bet when Jesse's a trucker that she doesn't even honk when people do the up and down.
That's the most, that is the biggest crime of all.
Yeah.
Because I still do it.
Yeah.
And I don't care if you think I'm mentally handicapped. I like it. It's fun for me.
I hope that you think I'm mentally handicapped because you think you're making my day, which you are.
Yes, and you are still making a fully capable person happy.
Fucking bitch.
Unbelievable.
But then there's the question of truth or consequences. 4 days after Jesse Ray was arrested, the city nevertheless decided to go ahead with an anniversary marking 50 years since the incredibly stupid renaming of their town.
I know it's really bad timing, but honestly, when it comes to we already ordered all the banners, and the guys here, that fucking guy is already flown into town. The guy from the old TV show, he's gonna die anytime soon, and we ordered all these pizzas. We can't stop.
While divers were down in the lake looking for human remains, the city was hosting a parade led by the almost 90-year-old living corpse of the original host of the game show.
He's doing that Jimmy Carter, frozen in fear.
Yeah, that was Ralph Edwards, but there's no word on if Ralph was told about what was going on out at Elephant Butte at the time.
I'd like to go see a toy box.
I like toys.
We used to have a Jack in the Box and used to surprise everyone.
Incredibly, Truth or Consequences has, in the years since, become a sort of billionaire's playground.
Great.
Currently, it's the base for Sir Richard Branson's Virgin Galactic Space Tourism Company.
You got to change the Virgin name.
Branson began commercial space flights out of TRC just a few years ago. Those flights go for about $600,000 a seat, which I would imagine is more than enough to buy a hell of a lot of double wides out at Elephant Butte, where so many of David Parker Ray's victims remain undiscovered.
Jesus fucking Christ. What a great show.
Then that's it.
Wow.
That's David Parker Ray Redux.
Just dredge the lake.
It's too big, and they also don't have the money. Dredging the lake's really fucking expensive.
They don't want to.
Yeah.
Yep.
They don't want to, and it's too big. And also the the burlap sack, like that cheese, the cheesy substance. That for me really says a lot about what happened to those bodies. Like down there, like they just fucking disintegrate.
And there's just no more DNA in that.
Not at the time.
Not
and
unless those people were in a DNA registry in the first place to be found.
Yeah, not at the time and not since.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have to already be, because that's the thing is that they're not like, they're the people that are being found, it's not like they're criminals, so the DNA is not going to be on the database in that way. And also a lot of these people weren't reported missing. So they don't have anything to match it against.
What about the bones found on his property?
It turned out to be nothing.
Oh, they weren't human?
No.
They're just human-esque?
Yeah.
Monkey bones?
That time I killed those 3 chimps.
Yeah. Now that's what I was going to bring up. Is that 4th of July when we got them 3 chimps?
The 3 chimps. And we all did the satanic chimp killing.
Yeah, and that one chimp got a hold of that artillery shell and he lit it and he put it down the throat of that other chimp, but it was big enough to blow up all the chimps.
It was amazing. Honestly, it was amazing. Also, I did find Roy Yancey. I thought it was him, but I don't think it is. He was in Iowa. This is another guy in Iowa's sex offender list.
I mean, Roy Yancey.
And it has his address.
Roy Yancey's about this. That is a sex offender name.
That is. Look at this sex offender. He's not smiling.
I mean, he is a sex offender.
Actually, that sex offender is smiling. There's I would say a flirty curl to that lip.
This one's here. This one's a weird one. It looks like Spicoli from fucking Fast Times. Yeah, I don't know who this is. I don't know if that is. He's in Des Moines.
Huh.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you. I'll put the address up on the socials. So we all go to his house. Bring him the show.
Well, thank you, Marcus, for finally breaking me.
Really good.
Yeah.
I'm glad you needed it.
Yeah.
We needed it. I'm
It was
glad
about
you got
time.
it.
Yeah.
Patreon.com/last podcast on the left. Watch Ed's thick tears happen and roll down his big cheeks as he's saddened by the news of David Parker Ray.
I can't wait to take my wife on a nice romantic dinner tonight.
Yeah, you go and you be nice to her.
Just flush it all out. Yeah. Just on the drive home, put on the soundtrack to The Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
And just, Under the Seas, that's going to remind you of stuff. Don't do Under the Sea. You can do, what are some of the other?
I don't know, yeah, look at this stuff, isn't it neat? I feel like that's a song David Parker Ray.
That's like the hymn in the toy box.
Hey, bitch, wouldn't you think my collection's complete when you think that I'm the dude? Dude that had everything.
Hakuna Matata, how's that?
Yeah, sure.
Means no worries.
Yeah. To the end of your days. At LP on the Left is where you can find us on TikTok and Instagram. And don't forget to check out our new YouTube channels. That's someplace underneath LP on Romantasy, Who's the Bee, The Foreign Report, No Dogs in Space podcast, and of course the overall LPN TV. And don't forget to come out and see us on tour. We got some awesome fucking shows coming up this year.
You know what's a bad song for him? Be our guest. Be our guest. Put our service to the test.
Also a terrible song.
Yeah. I'll tell you, that Lumiere, someone needs to keep an eye on him.
Hey, there's who's the fucking part of the toolbox. Hail Saint. Never mind.
Oh, and Hal Gein.
Hell, Julie, my wife.
Yeah.
Yay!
She ain't ever gonna hear this shit.
You can say Janice. How about Janice?
Yeah, Hail Janice.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Muppet.
Yeah,
Yes,
who
the
looks
Muppet.
exactly like Cindy Henry.
She looks nothing like her.